So today we will cover some hands-on uh, lab, to create a uh, Docker and deploy some sample application inside Docker container. So before that, we need to learn some some components, okay, uh, that includes some configuration file, some base operating system, and uh, something called, I think one of member is joined. Yep. Yes, I think all are joined now. Okay. So in today class, we will configure a mission. This is our EC2. We consider as this is a server, okay? You can choose the Linux, no issue. OS. OS here is Linux, right?
Yes.
And top of OS, we need to install.
Container.
No, Docker.
Docker first. Yes.
Yes. And top of the Docker.
Container.
Yes. These are the containers we are going to create, okay, respectively. So for this scenario, we need some prerequisites, okay, to fulfill this scenario. First, we need a base machine. or host with the operating system. Second, Docker engine. After Docker engine, we need what to deploy application. Anyone know? Deploy single application. We are choosing a text file. Okay. A default text file for deploying Docker image is called Docker file, right? What is Docker file?
Contain the information about a container,
Yes.
like the name, if you want to open a port, and the blah blah blah. I forget.
Yes. And what about Dr. Compose? No idea? Anyone? Okay, leave it. So, yep. Coming to Docker file. Yeah, I think some image. Yes, right, Andrew. Yeah, I got for it. Docker file is for a single deployment, single container deployment. Container. Then we are using Docker file for single container deployment, okay? And then for multiple container, for example, in a single deployment, we need to run multiple container. For that scenario, we are using Docker Compose. Okay. It's a YAML file, okay? So first one is a text file and Docker Compose is a YAML file. Inside the YAML, we will write up the configuration and the images and all things we need to provide for the running containers. I mean, to deploy that running containers. Okay. Then, yep. 4, 5. This is one scenario and this is another scenario. S1, S4 scenario, okay. And we will choose any one for our deployment. Right. For example, here we are choosing Dockerfile, okay. So Dockerfile, inside the Dockerfile, we will provide the details of our deployable methods. For example, what are the things we need to execute and build, okay. All things we include in our Dockerfile. After we build that Dockerfile, okay, for getting our application image. So the Docker file will executable and it will create the image, okay. So after Docker, yeah, we will get the images when we built the Docker file, right? Docker files, D is always capital, remember that. Okay. So after this is the workflow, okay, as well when coming to Docker file. So the next thing is after we get the images, okay. So the next part is to run the images, okay. That's our last part. Got it? Anyone have any doubt? So first we will create a Docker file, okay. Then we will build that Docker file, okay. Build the Docker file. After build, we will get image, right? Anyone have any doubt? Then we will run the image, okay. So actually here image means it's a lightweight operating system provided by Docker. We can get any type of Docker image from the running containers as well as in Docker Hub. Here we are creating Docker image from scratch. Okay, so you will get more idea how to create a Docker file from scratch and all things. Anyone have any doubt?
I have a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So Dockerfile is a single container deployment. Then
Yes.
for each container, we need to run
Sorry.
each Dockerfile. For each container, we need to run each Dockerfile separately.
No, that's why we are going with the Docker Compose. For example, we have a front-end application, okay, just to front-end, not to back-end. I mean, no database or any application there. only front-end tile. So that way, that purpose, we go with the Dockerfile and create a front-end application using Dockerfile. And some other scenario, we have a front-end application and there is a backend database. So we will keep the front-end and backend in different containers. So that we need to create two containers with the front-end and backend. So we will go with the Docker Compose and create a single YAML file and run the YAML file. After executing that YAML, we will get two containers with that application. I mean, database and the front end. Got it.
Okay, thank you.
And I need to include some thing about Docker. I missed that thing. Docker is a container. Docker is a containerization application, right? It's, for example, which level virtualization is Docker? OS level, right? Because we install Docker inside the Linux. Sorry, in top of the Linux, right? So the Docker will virtualizing OS to OS, okay? OS to OS means here this is the host. OS level virtualization, I mean. Top of the OS, we run the Docker, okay? So we will leverage the OS level resources. For example, the memory, CPU, network, all things will share by our OS level, okay? And the second thing is, here we didn't allocate, I mean, these are the comparison between the traditional and the Docker, okay? In traditional way, I explained previous class that we set up the server, then top of the server we use virtualization, and the top of the virtualization software we deploy the application. I mean, sorry, not the application, we deploy the operating system, different operating systems. So that case, we need to predefine some RAM resources for each operating system to run, okay? For the Docker technology, we didn't reallocate RAM. no pre-allocate RAM. So how will then the containers will run? When running time, the containers getting the RAM. After run, it will release the RAM. Then it's less cost in comparing to traditional. Then yeah, less weight. Okay, less weight in the sense of what? Because coming to traditional, yep, the OS size. Okay, we need to deploy OS. Okay, I mean set up the OS in traditional way. Top of the virtualization technology, I mean hypervisor, VMware, top of the VMware, we deploy and we set up different OS. So each OS have much memory. For example, we need to configure a Windows server or Linux server. In that scenario, it will take 1 GB, 2 GB size memory. Okay. When coming to Docker container, it is less. Okay. Like in MB size, that's all. Like 200 MB or 300 MB, like that. Then we can easy to create container. Then we can deploy anywhere. Okay, deploy. I mean local, cloud, etc. These are the some of the benefits of Docker. Okay, I just include here. Okay. So the next thing is Docker file. Yes. I'm just removing this part. Okay. It's visible, right? I mean, my typing. Or shall I zoom the font?
It is visible.
Okay, fine. Okay. So every Docker file start from this command. Okay. From. This means where our base image to run this container. Okay, there is, to run any container we need a base image. Okay, that a base image means a small size operating system to run that container. Similar like we have different types of operating system to run our machine. I mean, in our laptop, we have Windows server, Windows client OS operating system. And for Linux operating system there, Ubuntu operating system there, so many operating systems there, okay? So same in our container, we need some small size operating system. There is a small size operating system for containers, okay? Like Ubuntu, Linux, and so many different customization containers also there to run our container. So we need to mention first in our Docker file, okay, where our base image belongs, or the directory or the path, repository path, all things we need to mention. The repository means the Docker hub, okay. Docker hub is a repository to save our private or public images. And we can get official images from different applications like Nginx, Tomcat, SonarCube, etc. So here we can use Rocky Linux, okay, Rocky Linux, Rocky Linux, and we need to mention the what, that version. If we don't know the actual version, we can choose latest. So it will automatically fetch the latest image. Got it? And here the Rocky Linux Rocky Linux is, there is a Docker hub repository for the Rocky Linux. Okay, so for example, we can, I didn't copy that. Not bad. Rocky Linux / Rocky Linux. To copy and verify, there is a base image for the same. Go to Google and search. You see in Docker Hub, there is an official image for Rocky Linux. So what will happen when we execute or when we build this Docker file, I mean the writing Docker file, it will talk with the Docker Hub and download the Docker image Rocky Linux Rocky Linux latest to our machine. Got it? So this is the image, okay. It's official Rocky Linux image. And we can directly download using the Docker command docker pull Rocky Linux. This is where we can directly getting the image from Docker Hub. So you all are take a Docker Hub account, okay, go to sign in, sign up free, and using your credential, you can get a Docker Hub account. So we can push our Docker image to this Docker, our Docker Hub. Okay. I'm going with the notepad, okay, so we can directly copy. First part is done. So the next thing is we need to add some tag, okay, maintainer. Next, craft label. This is for the label, okay. Okay, same thing we need to mention here. I mean the image, base image. Okay, Linux. Say test image, okay. Right, test image. That's enough. Then the next part is actually this is a configuration, okay. So for example, before Docker, we set up different application deployment lab, okay. So what are the things we all are follow? Like first we configure the EC2 machine, Apache or Ubuntu, then we will manually, or we already done the manual setup, right? I mean, we install Apache, right? Using the command, step-by-step process. All are remember, installing Apache and creating the index file and go to the directory. Then we copy the index file in the var.html, that directory. And after that, restart the that web server, right? Then we will get the application. So coming to Docker, we need to write all the things inside the Docker file. So when we executing the Docker file will automatically do the ender thing. Got it? So my first scenario is installing Apache 2. Okay. So this is not for Docker file. This is for the information. Okay. I am using hash. So before, if anything, command starting from hash is not executable, just for our knowing purpose. That's all. So the command is, this is the next one. Okay. First command is from. The next command is, these are the commands in Docker. Okay. This command is run. The run command for running what? Running some step-by-step configuration. For example, I need to run Apache. So the run command will automatically download the Apache and yeah, do the things. We didn't bother about that thing. So inside the run command, we need to specify the thing. Yum -y update. First, it will update, okay, the software package. Then $sign. This is for nothing. We need to run different things inside a single run command. Okay, first it's update. Okay, then what we'll do? Yum -y install HTTPD, right? HTTPD. So the next second part is done using run command. So I need to one more thing to do. So again, this is break line. Okay, the for backward slash. The next thing is clean all. That's all. Okay. So in my container, these all happen in the container. Okay, not in the OS level. Because after I build this Docker file, I will get the image. So inside the image, all we provide these all things. Okay. So now I install the Apache. Okay, inside the container. So next thing is what we need to copy the application, right? I mean, we need to expose some application. So we need to copy our application from where? From our host. Sample. I mean, this is for copy application from our OS, from our host. The command is copy. All commands are in capital. Okay. That in copy command we need to provide the file name index.html to where? The path var www html. Then inside the HTML, this file, copying file index.html. Okay. So that's done.
Can we even write something like maybe echo some text directly in the Docker file and run? Echo something to this file.
The index.html, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will explain in the lab. Don't worry about that. Okay. Fine. So the next thing is we need to expose the port. Okay. So exposing port, there is another command called expose. And we need to mention the port as well. Okay. The port number is 80 for HTTP. And the last thing is entry point. Okay. So entry point and one more thing is called CMD. These two things are one of the when we are in interview, the most questions regarding entry point and CMD. Okay, these are the two things: CMD and entry point. Entry point. So I note it down. I will take a section for these both later.
Is the entry point something like we are asking start the HTTP daemon? Is that what we are trying?
Yes, it's both are the first executable thing when we are running a container. Okay, got it. And
Okay.
similar way, both are doing the same thing, but there is some difference between these two. And coming to CMD, it's having a default thing. Okay, default executable, default argument inside the CMD. There is a default argument. And coming to entry point, we can customize the argument. Okay, got it. I will explain these two things. Okay, later. Note it down. Okay, CMD and the entry point, because with some examples you will get idea. Otherwise, it will take some messy thing. These two things only the interview mostly asking what are the difference between CMD and entry points when coming to Docker file. So this is a small Docker file that's for running a web application, okay, inside a Docker container. Got it? So expect entry point. Is anyone have any doubt regarding anything? Yeah, then we can directly go to lab, right? So I'm going to launch a machine. Linux, fine. Now I'm just enabling port 2022 only, okay, for SSH. After I will make changes. So the first part is done, okay. I mean, base machine with the operating system. Got it. Now I need to install Docker.
So can we do this on our own computer, or we can create a Amazon EC2 and inside that also we can
No.
try that?
If you have Ubuntu or Linux machine, you can directly do the same thing.
Okay. So even my on my
No, your voice is breaking.
okay. Even if even on my Windows machine, I can do this, right? Because the Docker will create the
For Windows, there is
virtual.
for Windows, there is Docker Windows application there. So you can download the application and install for your lab, I think. Otherwise, you can use
Yeah,
Windows subsystem for
I
Linux.
get it. I get it. Basically, I need Docker engine so that can run any image and it can create an instance.
Sorry? I didn't get
No,
you.
I don't have any.
Again, it's breaking.
So in this case, you created a EC2 and on top of that Linux machine, you are doing all these things, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
This is the way we doing the things nowadays, actually. Got it? So yeah, my machine is ready. So I need to update my machine. So yum update. Nothing there. So I need to install Docker, right? So for that, I can just search the Docker in publicly. Yum search Docker. Yeah, that's the Docker thing we got. And we can check the info like yum info Docker. So it will provide the version, all things. You see, Docker version is 20.10.25 and some related things for the latest version of the Docker. So this is just for searching the Docker. Okay, what are the latest version of the Docker? For that purpose, I am using search Docker and info Docker. So installing Docker with this is a simple command yum install Docker. Okay. Now the Docker is installed. So
I'm stopping you again.
okay.
If it is my laptop, maybe I need to go to Docker website and see if there is a Docker installable for Windows. Once I have it installed, then I can run the Docker file that you created, right?
Yes. Otherwise, you have AWS account, right? Or not?
Yeah, we have.
Okay, fine.
Oh, I get it what you are trying to say. Maybe on the AWS, when I create EC2, I can create a Windows or Linux server. From there, I can do all these things. Okay.
Yeah, yep. So now I am installing Docker. Okay. So yeah, I can search the version Docker. So the Docker version is 20.10.25. So I am going to enable the Docker service. Okay. System CTL enable Docker dot service. Now it's enabled. Why we enable the service? Because whenever our host machine, I mean the EC2 machine is stop or restart, our application will automatically restart or turn back on. Otherwise, we need to manually go there and start the thing.
Do we have still to put that service at the end?
Yeah, that's for the service actually, Docker dot service. That service related to Docker.
So if we don't put that service, that will not work.
Sorry.
suppose that we don't put, like I will say, systemctl enable Docker. That will work or not?
Yeah, it's work.
Okay.
You see, now I am just provide the Docker only, not service for the last command to check the status. Same way I'm choosing service. Same thing, right? Cool.
Okay.
Okay. So now my Docker is ready and everything is fine. So the next thing is what? This part is done. Docker engine is done. So the next thing is we need to create a Docker file, right?
Yes.
So which command we need to create a text file in Linux?
Touch.
Yes, we can use touch, touch, and the file name is capital D Docker file, right?
Yes.
Now it's create a text file called Docker file. You can test using ls command to list the thing under the directory. So there is a Docker file, right? So I need to write something inside that file. So which command I am using?
Nano.
Yeah, fine. I'm using nano here. Nano the file, right?
Yes.
Hit enter. Then it will open a text editor. So yep. I have the Docker file. Okay, this is the Docker file. So I'm copying the file. Paste it here. Okay. Yeah, I shared. Okay. Vim install. Yes. Copy. Yep. Now I write up the thing inside the Docker file. Okay. How to see all things inside the Docker file? I need to check again. Which command?
Cat.
Yes, cat Docker file. Yeah, everything is done, right? So now I create a file, and inside the file, I mean this you can see that this thing, that copy command, okay, copy index.html, okay, to this directory. This files belongs to our OS system, and this is the directory of the container, okay, because we install the HTTPD inside the container when it's running. So we need to create an index.html file in our this machine, our host machine. So I will create one more name using the same touch command, or else I can directly using nano index.html. Okay, so automatically create, and here we can add the thing. Okay, We can add some small size. I will add some another way, okay, using echo command. So because I need to deploy much more than 2 applications for the same Docker. Okay, this way we can simply create a index.html file with content hi or v1. These are the content, okay, in the brace, and it's pointed to index.html, so it will create a thing. And the thing is, we need to echo the content, okay. Echo means to just display the content, that's all. Now we can, you see there is index.html, cat index.html. See, got it. I'm not copying a big code or anything. I mean, just showing this thing. So everything is fine. I have the copy, I mean, index.file and all things. Now I just build the Docker file, okay. So to build that Docker file, we need to build using Docker command, right? So the command is Docker. These are the Docker command, okay, that we start with the Docker. Docker build -t and build. We need to give some name for our image, okay. So my image name is app, and I am providing the same directory. That means the dot, the last dot. So it will execute in the same directory. So you can see.
I have a question. So Docker is a command.
Yes.
You are saying Docker build and you are giving a name, but where is it finding the file, Docker file? We did not specify Docker file in the command.
Yeah, because that's starting with the Docker, okay. So it will, because we are in the same directory where the Docker file is belongs, right?
Oh, what if there were two files? It will pick up the first file?
No. That's we mentioned the Docker file with the D capital all things. Oh, in case we have multiple Docker files, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for we didn't copy that multiple Docker file in a single directory to run or to run the build. Okay, for example, we need to delete the Docker file. Otherwise, it's a mess.
So I want I want to see the command. If you don't mind, can you just show the command again?
Which command? Build command.
The build command.
Docker build dash
So
t.
the Docker that you give in the front is file name.
Yeah.
Okay, it can be file name followed by build. Oh, but how Linux understood that it is a Docker?
Yeah, actually, when we build using build command, okay, so the Docker will check for the Docker file. Got it?
Okay, I get it. Okay, so the file followed by build command and then -t, then name.
Yep.
Yeah, but I would prefer you add. So I would prefer you added the name so that we can understand more, please. So it be confusing when you don't add the name.
You mean the Docker file name, or?
Yes, like a Docker build and the name of the file.
We didn't mention the Docker, I mean the file, okay, I will explain. I am like in this directory, okay. I am in a directory, consider the directory, okay. Okay. And here I have a Docker file. The Docker file is a component of the Docker, okay. Docker file. You can see here. The Docker file is here, right? So when I am using Docker build, this will take the Docker file, okay. So what are the things we are inside the Docker file? So the Docker build command will automatically done the all things what we have mentioned in the Docker file. It will take automatically take that file because that Docker file in the same directory. And here you see, that's why I am providing this thing. I mean, where it is. This is my command, okay. Like after I am specifying the directory, pointing the directory like app dot this dot, okay. So all things are related to the same directory. Now it makes sense or still confused?
Okay, I understand.
Now we understood, but is there any command to even specify the path of the Docker file?
No, because we have the Docker file in the same directory. And we are running the command in the same directory. I mean, Docker build. The Docker commands knows that this is for a build purpose and it will search for the Docker file and the Docker file in the same directory. So it will automatically taking the file configuration and do the things. And we got the all things like it will download the things that we are mentioned in the Docker file. I mean, the Rocky Linux, and it will install the HTTPD and copy the thing. And so that's what are things we mentioned inside the Docker file. All things will done by the Docker build command. So after all things, we will get the built image. So how we check the built image? Docker images. This is a command. You see, we have a base image and we have an application. Anyone have any doubt for the same? I mean, this thing, what is this thing?
So where is the container now?
Yeah, we didn't create any container as of now. We have just the images. So first we build the images with the Docker file that we created. Okay. After building, we will get the images. Okay. These are the images. Now we are good to go to run the container using what? Using the image. Got it?
Yeah, so sorry, as per our architecture, we have a bare metal server on that we have Linux operating system,
Yes.
and then we have installed Docker engine.
Yes.
Now we are moving to
Yeah, after
already
that,
we have deployed application. Application is also there, no? We installed application.
actually our application image is ready. These are the image.
Okay,
Okay. Now
okay.
we need to run the image. That's why
Okay.
we called when we explain Docker. What is Docker? Docker is a containerized technology. We can ship application, run application, build application, right? So we build application. We didn't run. Okay. Now we need to run the application.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So anyone have any doubt?
And yeah, our application is Rocky Linux, right?
That's our base image, base Linux application for running our container. And we create an application. That is the top, that app.
Okay.
Apache, right?
Yes, Apache, and inside the Apache we copy the thing, because inside the Docker file we
Yeah.
mention all things. Yeah.
We have index.html. Yeah.
Yes. And we just run the thing. That's all. Yes. So I'm good to go, right? We can run.
Yes.
Okay. So here we have two images, right? One for the base. This is for the base image, and this is the application. Okay. So we need to run this application, right? Using the Docker command. For the Docker command for running application is Docker. Okay, these are the commands. Okay, these are the commands you need to learn. For example, the interview time you ask how we see the images in our Docker. So which command you are using? Yeah, to showing the images, we can use Docker images, right? So like that, so many common commands for Docker. So the next command is running the image. Okay, Docker run. Yeah, Docker PS is showing the Docker thing. Yep, Docker run. Then, yep, if dash D for detachable. Okay, like for example, that container is detachable from this terminal. Okay, it will run background. Otherwise, it will show some code and we need to exit from this terminal. So most probably these are the front-end applications, so that we need to run as background. So it will detach from here. That's why I'm using dash D. Then dash P for the port. Okay, the port to expose the application. Here two machines here, right? One is the container machine. The next one is host machine. This is the container and this is the host machine. Okay, so I am deploying application in here, right? In the container, I am deploying application. App. So when we deploying application EC2 before, we need to expose the port, right? For accessing the application for port number 80. You remember? All of you. So in this case, we need to enable the port 80 right here, as well as here too, because the container liberate the all things, networking, memory, CPU, all things from the EC2 machine, right? So here as well, we need to enable the port 80. So in the here, you see the port 80 is enabled, right? So the access, how we access the application then? This is a user, okay, remote user. First we go through the EC2 machine 80, then go through the 80 port, then we go to the container 80 and view the application. This is the way we access the application, okay? So we need to enable the port 80 in the container and the port 80 in the, port 80 in the machine as well as in the container. So we need to mention that in here, port 80.
So in this case, what is the front end and back end servers?
This is for a front end, that's all.
Okay.
Not back end, yeah. Here we have two.
I can give any different number also, but I have to map it here.
You mean the port, right?
Yeah, instead of EIT,
Yes,
I can.
yes. You can, yeah, I will show that too in the next application. Don't worry about that. Then name. Here there is two port I mentioned here, right? Okay, one is for host and one is for container. And the next thing is the name we need to, because when we creating a container, we need to give some name for the container, right? So I am providing my app. And the next name is our image name, because here we need to mention the image name, okay? Here our image name is app, right? So after that, I need to provide the app because this app will run, okay? When I execute this command, it will take this application to run and its detachable mode, and the port to expose is 8080. And the name of the container is my app. Okay, I am hitting enter. So you can see this will create a container. This is the ID of the container. Okay, so we need to see the running container. So there is another command. The command is called docker ps. You can see this is the container ID and the image name is app, the same image. And yep, created 90 seconds ago, and the status is up. Okay, the port is 808080. Port is 80, and the name is my app that we provide in here. Got it? Now our container is running. Okay, then how we access the container, I mean the application. Go to EC2. I need to enable security group because in my host, I only enabled 22. I'm audible, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, and just to go to the security group. And I am enabling port number 80. Yes, edit inbound. Add role. HTTP, right? Anyone can access my site. Save role. And EC2 to public IP. Copy public IP.
So can we have IP to container itself so that can we directly access using the containers IP?
No, container have some private IP only. Now I am using my host machine IP and mention the port. Hit enter.
I mean, okay. Good.
You see, it's running, right? IR v1. That we are included in the index.html. Okay. Our application is up and running. Got it. So now our application is running. So I need to run another application, okay, inside the Docker. So I will create another container. It's very simple thing. That's why we are using Docker and why the Docker is famous. Okay. So how it will work, I will show you. I need to just add, okay, leave this thing, okay, just ls. Here I have one index.html, right? So I'm changing the index.html, nano index.html. So this is IR. Just save and exit. Okay. Now what are the thing I will do? Again, I am building the thing. Okay. Got it. Now I am changing to my image name to 1. Hit enter. Now Docker image. You see there is app1 there. So another image is here. So what are things I need to do then is to run the thing. Okay. So here I need to change. Yep.
Can I ask a question? Is it possible to edit the existing image itself instead of creating one more image?
Now I edit the image. I mean, not the edit the image.
Yeah, but when you edited at the end, it become like two images. We have app and we have app one,
Yes,
right?
this is another image. For example, we
Oh.
need to deploy 2 different applications. That's our requirement.
Okay.
Yeah. So here I need to change the host IP. Okay. Got it. I think this is the host IP. We will check. And my app. This is the image name. Here our image name is app1, right? Docker images. Then First, I change the port number of my host machine, not container, because I can use the same port number for each container, no problem. And also I need to change my app to 2. Okay. Here, what are things? App 2 is my image name. So I mentioned app 1. Sorry, app 1 is my image. So I choose the app 1. And when this application is run, I mean the image run, I will get one app container, right? The container name is my app 2. Okay. So the host port is 81. That this is for the server. Enter. Yes, it's work. Okay. So again, need to see the container, running container, Docker PS. You see, app is there and app 1 is there. It will create another container. Okay, it's up for 8 seconds and the port is 81. So how I will access that application? Just to go to where? Security group, right?
Security groups and one more report 81.
Yep. Enable. 81 is not default one, so I need to choose the custom TCP. Then 81, and anyone can access the thing. Okay. So the next thing is copy the public IP and mention the port, right? Port 81. Hit enter. Got it. So this way we can deploy as much container. Okay, I mean deploying different application inside a single machine.
So the port numbers that you gave, they are custom or like real ports? Because you have changed it to 81, right?
I am changing the host port actually. Okay. Here I am changing, I'm enabling, first I am enabling 80, then I am enabling 81. Here another container that's with the 80. Okay. This also with 80. So I need to access another application that's run in 80. First I am hitting the 81. The 81 knows that one container is belongs to 80. That's we mentioned in the where here, right? So if anyone hitting 80, it will route the 80 of this container details and my app and the ID, all things there. Okay. So it will route the traffic to where this container, not this container, because we mapped all things with this container ID and all things like, got it. Again,
So
we
the
create
users
another
know
container.
so we give this port number to the users?
Yes.
81.
Yes. Otherwise, we need to map with the DNS and all things.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Again, we can create another container with 80. Okay. And just enable another port like 82 in our host machine. Like we can access the thing. And this is the Docker PS for showing the running command. Okay. Can we remove the latest image? Yes, we can remove the image using Docker. For example, I am removing app. Okay. Docker remove image. That's called RMI. Then the image ID. We need to force more, I think.
Oh, first we have to shut down the container and then the remove.
No, it will. because we need to force, cannot force, you see, cannot be forced.
Yeah, so container is running, right? Maybe is there any way to stop the container?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, we can use the remove. This is the command. Okay, remove image. We can use RMI, and for remove container, we can use RM. Got it.
let's say if we don't want to remove the image, but we want to shut down the instance, shut down the container.
Yes, Docker stop.
Okay, Docker
Container
stop
ID.
and use the container ID. Okay.
Again, we can Docker start container ID. Then Docker kill is for killing the container. I think Docker kill. Now it's kill. Okay, Docker. Yes, only one container there. I think 81 is dead. 81. This is 81, right? Yeah, it's gone. I will check for the Docker application remove. Docker remove app. Yep, it's untagged, you see. Just untagged only. Yep. Okay, anyone have any doubt? Oh shit. Docker. Yeah, anyone have any doubt? Fine.
So are we going to learn Kubernetes also, like how to do all these things or scale things or all those things?
Yep, in next section we will go to set up Kubernetes cluster and deploy the application and all thing. Now it's removed. You see, I'm deleting the another container and another image. That's why it's saying this.
Regarding the Dockers and this containers, if you have any real-time scenarios, if you have anything, can you show?
Your voice is
us?
too low, too low.
I'm asking, like, if you have any real-time scenario situation, like for create how it works, like Docker and containers in real time. If you can show the copy.
Real time means you mean in real scenario, right?
Yeah, real scenario.
For example, in real scenario, we have, for example, there is a front end and back end application. Okay, that's a requirement. So we need to create a Docker compose file. Okay, called Docker compose.yaml. And inside the YAML file, we specify all things, pods, images, and the dependencies, all things we need to provide inside the thing, and we need to deploy the YAML file. And after that, coming to production environment, we need to secure these things. Okay, we didn't expose some IPs or all things. We create DNS for accessing the application, and we will monitoring these things. Containers, Kubernetes, all things we need to monitor using some monitoring tools. I will explain how the observability is in these container technology. I include that in the observability part. So that's the things we are following.
So are we going to do any lab on Docker Compose?
Yes. Docker Compose. For example, now we have time, then I will show how to run. Wait, I have one command. Yeah, I will show in the next class, okay, how to deploy multiple command using Docker Compose. Docker Compose is another component of, we need to install Docker Compose as well in here, okay. So then we create a Docker Compose.yaml, then directly we can run that thing. Using Docker Compose up, that's a command. So in a single command, it will create the container. Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will
So
show in the
this-
next section. Yep.
Okay. In the real time, this Docker file we need to create from the scratch, or any developers are going to give it to us?
No, sometimes we need to create from scratch. But most probably when coming to corporate, they have the images, okay. For example, you see here, Rocky Linux is here, or just to copy. So it's the same for your company have some Docker Hub repository or any other artifact that's keep our
So
images, okay. Our
the
build image.
run the run part will change, because even though we use same Linux flavor or Windows flavor, what port, what applications we are going to install, what drivers we will install, that part of Docker file we need to customize.
Yes. For example, quickly we need a Nginx web server, okay, or MongoDB or anything like that. Just to go to Docker and search. Like a single command, we can get the image. These are the build image, okay. We didn't bother about the Docker, the Docker file or anything. These are the build image. These are the official build image. Just to copy this thing and go to, and here hit enter. It will automatically download a thing. Manifest unknown. Now I am pulled the Nginx official image from Docker Hub. You see, Nginx is here. And the size you can see here is only 180 MB like that. This way we pulling the image from Docker hub. We can very easily we can pull the image, okay, and we can assure that this is official and there is no other security issues or anything like that, because this is official from Linux, and for Nginx all are official, verified, and non-verified is also there. Yep. Then anyone have any doubt? Docker daemon I will explain next section along with the Docker compose. All clear, right? Anyone? Then shall we wind up the class, right? I'm audible, right?
Yeah, yes. You're
Okay.
on.
Okay, fine. Then we wind up, right?
Yeah, we are fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we are good. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Okay,
Thank
bye
you.
then.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.